I welcome you all to the class of economics. Today we are going to discuss about monetary policy, and we'll discuss today about what is monetary policy, what are the various tools of monetary policy, which government utilizes to control supply of money in the economy. You may recall that in my first lecture, while discussing about the objectives of an economy, I pointed out there are two main policies which governments have got at their disposal to attain the objectives. One important policy is monetary and another is fiscal policy. So, first, I will discuss about monetary policy and then I will discuss about the. Please mute yourself. Who is this? Abdul Wahab. So the first I will take a definition. What is monetary policy, as I told you, and then I will discuss about what are the tools of monetary policy. You know that the monetary policy of any country is conducted by the central bank of that country. In case of India, it is RBI which conducts the monetary policy. So in US it is Federal Reserve, European Union it is European Central Bank ECB which conduct the supply of money. Question is, what is monetary policy? The word monetary, keep in mind. And so monetary policy is the policy that deals with or involves management of interest rate and quantity of money, also referred as money supply. So what the monetary policy does, that monetary policy tries to regulate supply of money. Depending upon the economic conditions, it will either increase supply of money in the economy or it will decrease supply of money. And when it increases or decreases supply of money, it works through banking system. You know, all the banks are regulated by the RBI. RBI is the regulatory, so all the banks, they work under the purview of RBI. RBI as a regulator tries to control. So when RBI conducts monetary policy, it operates via these banking systems, or broadly speaking, let us say the financial system wherein banks are the main part of it. So the RBI conducts its monetary policy through the banking channel. Now, by using those tools, which I will discuss later on, RBI can augment supply of money in the economy or can curtail supply of money in the economy. And you may also be knowing that RBI is not only a regulator, but also RBI is a banker's bank, and RBI has got the exclusive right to print the currency notes and so on. And it is also a lender of last. Whenever bank needs money, they can approach RBI for the supply of credit. So, but before I come to that point, just some discussion about what is money, because money supply is related to a brief description about money. Is anything which is acceptable as a medium of exchange. That, for example, or it can be used as a unit of account, or it can be used as a store of value. Imagine an economy where there is no money. So what people do, there will be a barter exchange. For example, I am hungry and I am a teacher, so I will search for a student who can pay me. So barter exchange, exchange of goods with goods, or kind with kind. Now, with the development of money, this coincidence of wants has been done. Now, money is anything which is acceptable as the primary function of money is medium exchange. And therein we can also, express the value of those goods and services like 10 rupee, 15 rupee, and they can also be kept in the form of, can be deposited in a bank or can be kept as a store of wealth. So these are some of the what RBI does. That RBI tries to control the supply of money in the banking system. Now, for this, RBI has got certain measures of money supply. First measure of money supply is called M1. This measure includes currency, notes and coins. All the currency notes which RBI has put in circulation, they are considered money, and especially and also the coins. Plus, with the public at large. Plus, whatever money is deposited in the bank in demand deposit and other deposits with RBI. So, demand deposit is that it is can converted into cash. There is no restriction on the number of transactions and all that. So, this is a broad measure of this is a narrow measure of supply of money. Then M3 is include this M1 plus other time deposits with the bank. Time deposits are fixed deposits, They can also be converted into cash. So this definition of, supply of money is based on liquidity. How quickly one can convert into cash. For example, the currency, as you know, that hardly needs an explanation, but other deposits can also be converted into cash. So they can act as money and can be used for transaction and other purposes. So what RBI does, that RBI tries to control these measures. For example, deposits with the banks, RBI has got certain measures which RBI can augment the reserve with the banks and can reserve with and their ability to lend money can be also affected by the RBI. I think, let me check it. Shagun Agarwal, please mute yourself. So these are some of the measures, some money supply. So without going to that further detail, now let me come to the some other idea, some other aspect of monetary policy. Now, the monetary policy can be expansionary or can be contractionary. Right now, just I will point out that expansionary means that supply of money is increased, and contractionary means supply of money is decreased. And it has got its effect by affecting various components of demand, total demand in the economy, consumption spending, investment spending, government expenditure, export and import. So it affects that, but I will take this part later. Now, what are the objectives behind the conduct of monetary policy? What RBI wants to achieve? These are very similar to my first lecture, wherein I have pointed out that inflation is one of the most important objectives. So price stability is one of the prime objectives of monetary policy. Then using this policy, the RBI wants to attain high level of employment, push economic growth, have stability in financial market. There are no gyration, volatility, upheavals in financial market, and also stability in interest rate and foreign exchange market. You know that sometime rupee, the exchange rate goes out of line. So RBI also intervenes in the exchange market, which I'll take up in exchange rate later on. So that these are, but one of the most important objectives of monetary policy all over the world is to control inflation. And other objectives are secondary objectives. And whenever any policy action is taken by the Reserve Bank of India, then these policy actions operate with a lag. Lag simply means that when you take action now, its effect will be felt after a certain period. Not that if you take action today, RBI increases repo rate, its effect will be cast immediately. It will not be the case. It may take 6 to 9 months according to have the full impact. So there is a transmission time from when action is taken and when the impact is felt. So there is a lag. And we'll see later on in fiscal policy that this is the lag when action is taken and the effect is transmitted on the real variable is longer in monetary policy in contrast to fiscal policy. For example, if tax is increased, immediately from the next month's salary, the income will go down. It will impact the other taxes are increased. So when you buy goods, you will pay higher price. Whereas this is not the case with the monetary policy. Monetary policy is effective, but the effect is, and this happens with the various policy measures. It is not, managing an economy is not like driving an automobile that you can bring back and forth at your will, like an automobile. Imagine that economy is like a giant oil tanker, So if it wants to turn, it will take time, its effect will be. So that is why there may be many a slip between cup and lip. Sometime RBI undertakes some action, but its effect is not, cast, or its effect is not felt on the real variable like that. Now the next point which is need to be understood is that in order to increase supply of money or decrease supply of money in the economy, what tools RBI has got, like taxation is a tool of fiscal policy. Similarly, what are the tools which RBI has got at its command to control supply of money when it wants to increase supply of money or decrease the supply? And I'm emphasizing once again that the monetary policy operates the banking system. Okay, so those which are left out of the banking system, like Seth, Sahukar, those lenders and other things, they may be indirectly affected but not directly affected. Those are not under regulation of RBI, will not be affected by that. So what are the major tools of monetary policy to increase supply of money or decrease supply of money? The first tool which the monetary policy can use is called discount rate. Second is called open market operation, and reserve ratio variation. So let us try to understand the first tool which the RBI has got to disposal, which we call discount rate. Now, why this word is called discount rate? You know that in the past there was still there is a concept of bill of exchange. The Desi name is hundi. For example, a trader has got a payable, let us say after 2 months, T2, he has sold something and he will receive, let us say, 10 lakhs after 2 months. Okay. Now, the trader is in need of money. Now, it can approach a bank and for discounting this. So, the payment will be received by the bank after 2 months. So, what the bank did, that they discounted some amount from this as a charge, and this acted as a rate of interest. So, this is a traditional name. Now, this word is used. The rate of interest at which the charge by bank that borrow from. RBI is also, whenever commercial bank needs the credit, they can approach RBI, and RBI can provide the loan by charging certain rate of interest. So if RBI wants to increase supply of money, it will charge lower rate of interest will lower. And if RBI want to curtail supply of money, RBI will raise this rate and to discourage borrowing or so that the supply of money, because whenever banks they borrow it, the reserves with the commercial bank increases, their ability to lend also increases. So that will lead to more supply of money in the economy. When rate of interest is charged higher, so the borrowing become costlier, that may discourage it. So it is the rate at which RBI provides financial accommodation to the commercial bank. So this is one tool which is used. Then, before I come to this point, open market operation, let me take this part first. You know that every commercial bank in India is required to maintain certain portion of their deposit in the form of reserves. They are known as CRR, and another is known as SLR, statutory liquidity ratio and cash reserve ratio. It means that whatever deposits are with the banks, a portion of it has to be kept in the form of CRR. CRR is currently 3%. SLR is 18%. It means that 21% of their deposits with the commercial bank have to be kept to meet these two legal requirements. That CRR is that in the form of cash, bearer cash with the RBI, it is deposited. A very nominal rate of interest is provided. Okay. So, and SLR is the investment in government or government approved securities by the banks, government or government approved securities or bond, whatever you call it, financial security. So it means that just think that if the CRR is increased, so the banks will have less amount, they will have to fulfill the higher reserve requirements, so their ability to lend will go down. For your information, before in 1991 even, and before that, CRR was more than 10%, SLR was 39-40%. So it means that half of the deposits of commercial bank were used for meeting these requirements. Now, whenever RBI wants to increase supply of money in the economy, RBI may decrease these ratios. CRR may be decreased. So if 3% may be 2.75% or 2.5%. Please remember that even 0.5, 0.25% reduction or increase cause huge impact. The total commercial bank, the bank deposits in India are 151.3 lakh crore. 151.3 lakh crore. So you can imagine that even 0.25% reduction or increase in these ratios will have a huge impact, overall impact, because it will be transmitted through all the taken together. So this is the huge amount of deposits. So all the banks have to put. So in order to increase supply of money or decrease supply of money in the banking system, what the RBI does, RBI may increase or decrease CRR or SLR requirement. Now related to this is a concept which let me explain to you, is called open market operation. And I told you that the commercial banks have to meet two requirements. One requirement is CRR, which is nothing but the deposit of cash, certain percentage with the RBI. And then SLR is the investment by the banks in government or government approved securities to meet this requirement. Now, you know that in economy like that, government's borrowing needs are, in order to meet government's borrowing needs, that government's expenditure is greater than the revenues which government earns. RBI on behalf of the government conducts a borrowing, raises funds. To meet this borrowing need, RBI, what RBI does, that RBI, issues government securities to raise funds for the government to meet the borrowing need. Like any company, needs fund, it can come in the market with a bond and the public may subscribe it, and the holder of the bond will be paid the rate of interest on that. Same is the case. So when RBI wants to contract supply of money in the economy, what RBI will do that RBI will sell government bonds and banks will purchase these bonds. When they purchase these bonds, it leads to the reduction in the deposits of the commercial banks. So it is in a way to reduce supply of money. And please remember one thing, that SLR is a statutory requirement and the deposits of the banks are not static. For example, deposit of the bank, it was 100, 18% of it, 18 crore will be to meet the SLR requirement. It means that it required that 18% of it should be invested in SLR or government approved security. Means the banks should purchase or make investment. Now let us say deposit increases to 110 after 1 month. So this in order to meet this, more amount of investment will have to be made. Naturally, this is incremental. So whenever RBI wants to reduce supply of money in the economy, the RBI will sell government bonds to suck the supply of money from the banking system. And when RBI want to increase supply of money, it will purchase already issued bond, will redeem it. And it will lead to when it will purchase it, it will pay to the banks and the deposits of the bank will increase. And it will lead to expansion in their monetary base and supply of money. So it is an act of purchase or sale of bond by the RBI in the market. Open market means the subscribers are the commercial banks. And in India, the investment in government and government are mostly captive investor like banks, because for statutory requirement they have to meet. In USA there is no SLR. Okay, keep in mind. Because like government there, like any other entity, they are also borrows from the banks, like a private player. The CRR is there. CRR is everywhere because it is a kind of cushion kept with the RBI in case of there is some eventuality. So open market operation is an act where government, when the RBI want to increase supply of money, it will purchase the already issued government bond and will retire it and will pay to the banks. And that will augment, that will increase supply of money and their ability to lend more. Whereas it wants to curtail or reduce or diminish the supply of money, it will sell government bonds. The commercial bank will subscribe those bonds. And when they subscribe to, they will pay out of their deposits. Their deposits will be curtailed and their ability to lend will be reduced. So it is taken in when the RBI want to reduce supply of money. Now, a related concept to the open market operation, which is temporary in nature, is called repo, which you come across. Now, open market operation is purchase or sale of the government securities by the RBI and the subscribers and the redeemers or the commercial banks. Now, if you know that when RBI when the banks need borrowing, they have already made investment in the government securities. Their investment is already there. So a kind of collateral is there. And they are in temporary shortfall, sometime as less as 1 day or maximum 15 days. They need money for this period. Now what they do that they can use these securities as a collateral to borrow from RBI. Now, imagine a scenario that you want to from a bank. There is some talking. Who is this? Please mute yourself. Let me give a simple example to illustrate what is it. Like if somebody needs money from a bank, one will approach bank will quote certain rate that it will charge certain rate of interest. Now, bank may also ask for a collateral that in case one defaults, one can sell off this and to get back the loan, the amount lent. Now, if somebody offers a low collateral, then the rate of interest charge is lower than in case when there is no collateral. So, what the commercial bank they do that they keep this investment in government securities as a collateral and they borrow from the RBI. They say that okay, we are selling it now at this period and will buy back after 1 day or 2 days, maximum tenor is 15 days. The rate of interest charged for this, for example, the securities are worth 1 million. A rate of interest may be charged for this. The RBI may provide lower than this depending upon the rate of interest. So that is why and the word is called repo is made of repurchase agreement. So there are two legs. On the one leg, the commercial bank, they temporarily sell their securities using as a collateral for borrowing, and at the later date they buy back. They will pay back the amount. Or there are two, either RBI provide the discounted value, that is the rate of interest charge, and they will pay back. And that includes it. For example, 1 million is their rate of interest is, let us say, repo rate is currently 4%. So 4% is for 1 day. So they can accordingly they charge it for 2 days, 3 days, and like that. So 4%. So it is a temporary open market operation where for borrowing, and it is in simple words, it is a collateral. तो लगता है सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है क्या भाई आपको? क्या बात किए चले जा रहे हैं? कौन है यहाँ? जरा देखता हूँ। ये कामरान अंसारी साहब, ये आपको सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है क्या?
यस सर।
हाँ, क्या बात कर रहे हैं आप म्यूट करिए अपने आप को। आपको खुद के लिए नहीं बुलाया गया है क्या? आप यहाँ पर so it is repo is repurchase agreement is a temporary financial accommodation provided, and that is why in after 90s repo market was, you know, that in US is very active and vibrant market. In India it was. So Repo rate is the rate at RBI purchases securities with agreement that the seller will repurchase. Sellers are banks, commercial banks. If RBI needs money from then what RBI will do, that RBI will pass security with the commercial bank and will buy back after certain period. So the rate charged by commercial bank from the RBI for RBI's borrowing need is called reverse repo rate, which is currently 3.35%. So I repeat once again, because there is a lot of confusion about repo rate. The word repo is made of repurchase agreement. The word repurchase, and you sell it and then you buy back. It is a kind of borrowing which is backed by collateral. And what the commercial bank they do, they park their securities, they use their securities for borrowing. And it is a very, very short term, very short term borrowing arrangement. For example, today they need 10 million. They will keep the securities worth 10 million with the RBI, and after 2 days they will pay back the amount. Naturally, RBI will not pay the entire amount. The rate of interest will charge on that, and they will buy them. So it is kind of parking of the collateral for the. And normally reverse, these are signaling devices as well. Whenever RBI announces that it has increased repo rate, then it means that RBI want to curtail supply of money. It may fear that inflation. When RBI signals that the repo rate has come down, it wants to signal that the RBI will provide loan at a lower rate, and it wants to augment supply of money. Like if economy there is recession. So, but this route has got with the open market, because the commercial bank, they have already made investment in the government securities to meet SLR requirement. So they use it as security or collateral for borrowing needs. So two legs, on the one leg they sell it, on the other leg they purchase it. So this is called, in initial years, there was a lot of confusion with the terminology. And now they have started using it correctly. In US, it was used in other way, reverse repo and repo. And as I told you, in the US market, even in this market, the private players are involved. But unfortunately, in India, the investment in government securities market is only by the commercial bank and others. And government securities market is not very developed. And I told you that this is a very temporary financial accommodation. The maximum tenor of this type of loan is not more than 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Because commercial bank, they will get back the money, but if they default on making some payment, that sends a bad signal to the market. So these are some of the measures. I repeat, and then I will bring together all these things together. The discount rate is the first tool at which RBI provides financial accommodation. Second is the open market operation, which is nothing but the purchase and sale of bonds by the RBI. And when RBI want to increase supply of money, it will the purchase already issued bond from the commercial bank, and that will increase their reserves and their ability to lend money. And otherwise is the case if they want to curtail. And related to this concept is a temporary open market, which is nothing but a borrowing backed by a borrowing with a collateral, and collateral is nothing but the government securities, which is a kind of repurchase. You sell it and then you buy back, and the rate of interest charge, the difference is called repo rate. And then there is another requirement, which is CRR, SLR, that all the commercial banks, they have to maintain two reserves in the barren cash, which is called CRR, and the SLR, which is called the investment in government or government after securities. As I told you, over the years, government has brought down since 1991 up to 40% SLR. It has brought down to the 18%, and slowly it is being brought down further. Now let us bring together all these things in one slide to understand. Now, as I said, that RBI will act depending upon the economic condition. When it want to increase supply of money and decrease. So there might be two situations, which is broadly speaking. A situation of recession, low demand, production has come down, another thing. So what RBI want? That RBI want to increase supply of money, make the borrowing cheaper, rate of interest should go down so that it can encourage. So what measures RBI has got? For this, RBI can use any of these. They can buy the government bond from the banks or security. When it buys it, then it pays to the banks. That will increase their reserve. Or it can decrease the rate at which the loans are provided. Or it can decrease CRR or SLR. So that banks will have more money. When these are reduced, they will have more reserves. Opposite will be the case if you want to decrease supply of money. And the situation is that the prices are rising and RBI want to contain it. So what it will do that it will sell government bond, and when it sells bond, the banks will subscribe to it. That will decrease their reserves. Their ability to lend will go down and the rate of interest will go up. So, and discount rate, the rate of interest charged will be increased, and SLR and other things can be increased. Now, the question is that whether the central bank uses all these three methods together. No, because these methods, as you can understand, in drastic situation, the reduction is in repo rate, whether is not more than 0.25 or basis point, 25 basis point, what you call it. Because that, as I told you, that the amount of money, total amount of deposit is huge, 151, 152 lakh crores. So even slight reduction, that how much amount is sucked from the system and infused in the system by everything. So normally nowadays the CRR, other requirement, RBI only is using repo rate to augment or curtail supply of money in the economy. Now there is in order to assess the situation, there is a monetary policy committee now with RBI, and the mandate of the monetary policy committee is that the inflation target is 4%, plus minus 4, plus minus 2. It means that lower bound is 2 and maximum bound is 6. So they want to keep rate of inflation within these two bounds. Depending upon the inflation rate, they decide whether to repo rate should be increased or other measure should be. If inflation is coming down, maybe decreased. So 4% is the target rate, the inflation targeting, plus minus 2. That is the lower is 2 and maximum is 6, and like that. So with this mandate, they try to or otherwise before that RBI governor was the sole authority. So there is a committee which looks at, and as I said, that inflation targeting is one of the most important objective of, and the conduct of monetary policy also depends upon the independence of the central bank. How independent central bank is. Like in other countries, the central banks are very independent. They will not, if the government want to borrow money or like that, so they will not easily, succumb to government pressures. So in India, what has happened that RBI, also has become an arm of the government. Government needs borrowing, RBI will float bonds to raise for the government. Or government takes some action, RBI will be to the line, like that. So depending upon the independence also, how much freedom, that is a different question altogether. But these tools are universal. These are used by all the central banks to control it. What happened that, that the rate of this supply of money operates by increasing rate of interest or decreasing rate of interest. Imagine an economy when the rate of interest is already very low, 1%, 1.25%, or less than 2%. And the central bank want to increase supply of money. So it's already very low. So in these cases, when the rate of interest is already very low, monetary policy is not effective, because like if you want to pull a string, you can pull a string, but you can't push on a string. So you can increase rate of interest, but you can't. Various economies in the world, like US economy, Japanese economy, rate of interest is very low. That is why after the financial crisis of 2008, what happened that the rate of interest was already low. So the problem with the Federal Reserve US was that when the rate of interest is so low, almost if you bring it to 0.25% or 0.75, actually you are asking people to take money free without him. That is why Japanese were very happy when they said that they will finance the bullet train project. Rate of interest is already very low there. So this problem is a slightly involved concept, but I will just refer to. It's called liquidity trap. And the monetary policy become completely ineffective. So you are in a trap. So this was economies where rate of the inflation is high, another high, but so what happened there? Some innovative methods were adopted. So normally open market operation is confined to government bonds. So in US, what happened that at the time Bernanke was Fred Bernanke, whose definition I have taken in economics, was the governor. He started buying even private bonds, issued by other private companies to inject supply of money in the economy. Normally, government does not buy those bonds or sell bonds, open market operations. So it was called quantitative easing. So various methods to augment and so these are some of the where the monetary policy is effective and or not, and depending upon the economic conditions, these are conducted. And I said that all these three measures available, and but they are not taken simultaneously because that will lead to very drastic injection or leakage from the system of supply of money. Now this diagram brings out the final, that monetary policy affects the total demand in the economy. Like, when the CRR and other ratios are reduced, interest rate goes down, consumption, investment may increase, total demand is made of this thing may shift, and GDP and prices. So it means that by using this thing, the demand in the economy and other things can be managed in that way. So the RBI will either use the contractionary, expansionary, or depending upon the economic condition which is happening. Now, if you have got any question, you can ask before I close.
Sir, sometimes government also use monetary policy.
Sometimes?
The government also use monetary policy like RBI.
I think that you have missed the main point. The entire story you have lost this entire lot of the main. I started my lecture by telling that the monetary policy is conducted by the central bank of a country. Okay? Central bank of a country is Reserve Bank, and RBI conducts on behalf of the government, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I think your point is that how independent is RBI in conducting the point which I was raising it, isn't it? Is it the question or the question is different? You see that the first slide, please have a look. I started my discussion from here. Is conducted by Reserve Bank of India, and Reserve Bank of India is a government. It conducts on behalf of the government, like Federal Reserve in USA. The governor is also appointed by the government. Similarly, European Central Bank, or Iran, it is Bank Markazi, for example, and other every central bank. conduct the monetary policy. On naturally is enough.
Yes, sir, I got.
Okay. So if there is no question, I will close. So this is one of the most important policies, and you will come across repo rate and other things. You know that you cannot brush aside these things because economic matter will always be there when you conduct it like this. And so I will provide you my slides at the moment I finish the last unit or before that, the fourth unit. And so we'll meet you inshallah tomorrow.